washed away. For all the wars and violence against our enemy, come heal our land with your great river. Restore the family and make us one. Make us one. Let your kingdom come. Make us one. Oh, make us one.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen Mayer, and today we're finishing out our preaching series, United We Stand. One of the challenges to unity in 2020 is how passionate everybody is about everything all the time. It feels like there's no middle ground, there's no room for discussion. It's either agree with me or be gone. And that makes everything a little tense, and it makes it hard to find unity, because unity is often found when we can see some value in the other person's positions and thoughts. So, how did we get here? Well, let me ask you, have you ever made a bigger deal out of something and then later thought, wow, what was I thinking? I asked a couple of people to answer that question, and here's what they said.
To describe a time when I made a mountain out of a molehill. Which time? There have been a lot. One of the times I can go back to was in the early 2000s when one or both of my children were making their first communion or confirmation. If there wasn't assigned seating, I felt very strongly about being there on time at the church door, waiting for the doors to open so I could get that perfect seat, so I could take the perfect picture. Yeah, one time I remember it even being where the event was going to be after 11:30 Mass on Sunday, and I was there at the door waiting for the 11:30 Mass crowd to exit the church, and there were still a few people coming out, and I remember feeling the need to go ahead in and move right past them so I could get that perfect seat for that perfect picture. Well, yeah, years later, as my kids have grown, I realized that it wasn't such a big deal to have to feel the need to make sure everybody was rushed and clothed and properly dressed in time so we could get there early and get in line and get to the door and get the perfect seat for the perfect picture. Yeah, not that important, especially now, right now with the pandemic. Just not important. It's about the event. Mountain out of the molehill. One of many times.
Hi, this is Katie. Well, my husband and I were about to be married. We were getting our apartment set up, and we were having a sofa bed delivered that we were going to actually use for our bed for the first year or so. And we told them it's the third floor of this old row house, and so make sure you take it apart because there's no way you're going to get up the stairs and through the doorway. Lo and behold, delivery day comes, and the sofa was not taken apart, and they could not get it up the stairs and not get it through the door. This is about a week before our wedding, and the soonest they could re-deliver it was about 2 weeks after our wedding. And I was devastated. Where are we going to sleep on our wedding night? We can't spend our wedding night on the floor, and what are we going to do? And so they left the air mattress, and they were like, well, at least you have the mattress. And I was convinced that this was going to completely ruin our marriage. If we spent the first night of our marriage on an air mattress in this apartment, I mean, goodness knows what would happen to us, right? In the end, it's become a really fun story that we share. But let me tell you, at the time, it felt huge.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Mary, for sharing those stories. It was really brave for you to do so, and I really appreciate it because it helps us all put ourselves back in a situation where we've done something similar, where we've made this assumption that if A happens, this terrible thing will result, and so we can't let that happen. So, if that's true of all of us, why is it so pronounced right now in 2020? And I think the answer is, right now we're stressed, and the more stressed you are, the more likely you are to fall prone to that kind of catastrophic thinking. And in 2020, we're all stressed at the same time, which means we're all doing this at the same time. If only some of us were doing it, we'd be able to kind of balance ourselves out. So what's the remedy? How do you fix it? Well, from my perspective, I'd offer 2 bits of advice. One is try and be less stressed. I know, you're thinking, yeah, that'd be great, but it's 2020. What do you mean be less stressed? I mean, take time for prayer, take time for exercise, get out of your house, spend time with your kids, not supervising learning, but just spending time with them. In other words, take a deep breath and try and find normal wherever you can. But the second thing that I'd really recommend, because as much as I believe those things could individually help, it's not going to change 2020. It's just going to change our reaction to it. I do think that the other place where you can is to see where this thinking is happening and try to stop it in its tracks. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you think that there is a really dire outcome, ask yourself why. If you're really worried about something, why are you worried about it? What do you think is going to happen that will get you from the present day to that terrible outcome? And then ask whether those assumptions you made along the way are in fact really true. And sometimes other people really help us because they can actually stop and go, why are you making such a big deal out of this? That's a great indication that it's time to stop and think. So try and be less stressed and examine your assumptions and see if you think they're all true. And just for the sake of argument, imagine that the other outcome happens. Instead of it being a disaster, what if there's an unexpected blessing or benefit? So I want to ask one final question. When are you prone to catastrophic thinking, and how can you avoid it?